Be cool. All right, long time no see, everyone. It is back. Go Bold or Go Home podcast. And we got Stephen returning with us as well because it's got to be a big session since we've missed out like weeks.
That's right.
So here's our trade special as we lead up to the trade deadline coming up. We're going to review some trades. Stephen, you want to start us off with our lovely PowerPoint presentation?
I would, but the host has disabled participants.
I have not. You should have told me this before. No, I'm kidding. Give me a sec.
I just saved it so I could slide you here.
Try again. Try again.
Here we go.
Yeah, there it is.
All right.
Difficulties. We just fired John over here.
Don't look ahead. Yeah. Oh, what'd that do?
Oh my gosh. Well, in the meantime,
it only full screen the. Okay, here we go.
Today
I look like an old man now. I can't even work Google Slides.
Top right, slideshow.
Slideshow.
Top right. Keep going. Keep going to the right.
Oh. Can we cut this out somehow?
Start from beginning.
All right. So
anyway, today's video is
all the trades that don't really matter.
Just real quick, today's video is brought to you by Body Armor Mamba Forever, because the Mamba, aka Kobe Bryant, aka top 10 player of all time, is sponsoring us from the grave. I talked with them, had a semblance. All right, cool. Let's go.
All right, let's do a quick speed through of all the trades that are not going to make the cut here.
Okay.
So here's this is actually the most even trade.
Yeah.
Fun fact. This is the most even trade that has aged the most evenly. I said it was even at the time. It has stayed that way. Here's some other ones. Hey, remember that one? The biggest trade in the league? Broke
the league right there. No pain.
Pretty even. Here we go. That one, I was surprised that this one didn't make the list at all. It felt uneven at the time, but I guess it hasn't aged that way. Look at Swift. He's like completely. Look at that deterioration right there.
Like Swift is now RB2 in Detroit.
Painful for me. I know. There's my Patrick Mahomes trade.
Okay.
All the people saying that I don't make even trades. What's up?
Oh yes.
Here's the draft day trade that ultimately, and surprisingly not making the cut. The Jamar Chase trade, which everyone thought I lost miserably. I think it's more about what I did with the picks that keeps it out of the window.
That's fair. It balances out a little bit, but I will say it still leans that Jamar Chase outvalued everything.
I will say Colton won it. It's true, but it's not aging miserably like
the ranking is
else on this list.
Moderate. It is moderate milk rating.
Another surprise admission based on the amount of slack he got for it in the group me was Dylan trading Isaiah Spiller for the same spot that he drafted him in.
That was pretty rough.
It started to look like it might age right now because Spiller's playing, but I still don't see it. We all gave him slack for this, but I guess that just kind of shows what our top 10s look like if this one got a lot of slack and couldn't make the cut. There's our Dalvin Cook for Montgomery trade. I think this one's aged in my favor.
I mean, yeah, Monty hasn't been as much as I was projecting because thanks to both injury and Justin Fields becoming RB2 or RB1 really. But he's still getting the snap share. He's still getting a lot of passing downs, third downs, all that. And I am happy with 1.09, and I'll have to check on the condition again, but I think I'll move up.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get the conditional.
I think I might.
Top 5 finish from Dalvin Cook, unless he has a Joe Mixon week. I don't think so.
You might. You never know.
But that brings us to the not top 10. Let me call it the not top 10 because these are the trades that everyone looks at and cries just a little for making those.
I'm going to prediction. I have 3 of them.
Okay, let's hear it. Since you didn't see the bottom of the list before we started, I know that we saw a little bit of the if you look in the bottom right at the beginning of this video, we do have a little bit of a spoiler, but not at the number one.
I
So
did
what
not
is your
look at
early
any of them
prediction?
actually, so I'm blind. So I'm predicting 3. Give me a second. I pull. I don't have it pulled up specific ones, but I'm gonna just say that number wise, I will have 3. I'm gonna say that will be second place out of people involved in the worst trades. I can already tell you that the CD Lamb Justin Jefferson trade is probably going to be number 1 or at least top 3. Those are my predictions for this.
All right, let's see if your prediction lives up to the hype here. As we start for not number 10, at the number 10 spot, we're going to work our way up to the most painful, the least painful to the most painful.
All right.
Number 10, we got, of course, it's going to be a Dylan trade. That's going to be it's going to be very much a trend of the day here. And of course, it's a Bateman trade because Dylan is always getting back and trading away Bateman like it's some sort of, some sort of crazy X or something. I don't know.
I feel like Bateman is just the equivalent now of like a second round pick in the rookie draft. That's how I look at it. So he just got 2 future draft capital.
Hey, don't give him any ideas. He might use that to try to trade back into the draft and give us one more Bateman trade for the video.
I mean, why not? Keep him trading. He's the new CEH. Must be included in every trade.
So for everyone that hasn't, we're just going to go ahead and explain the setup here, since it's going to be our setup from number 10 to number 1. We got our official trade authorization sheet, recently stolen by FC Dallas, on your left side.
Mm-hmm.
We have a fancy chart produced by my religiously used Keep Trade Cut. Thank you, Nolan, for showing me that.
It is one of the best trade value sites. It really is.
And it helps you show the value over time, so we can say, was this a bad trade that became painful, or was it always painful and it just has stayed that way?
Well,
so you can kind
at
of
the
follow
very
along. There's a
beginning,
little green star for reference on when the trade was made. As close to where I could, as close to where I could remember the trade happening. And this information goes up to about like the first week of November.
Well, back in April,
the David one's probably going down even more, actually.
April last year was a great trade. Anytime after was bad.
Yeah. Look at that. Here's where Michael Carter was before Breece Hall got drafted, after Breece Hall injury. Kind of funny to see how all this plays out. But then we have the ultimate meter here. We have something you might recognize from the hospital, your pain meter, with a carton of milk in the middle, saying, because trades age like milk. So that's how we're going to rate the trades on the scale of 1 to 10 painful, because this here kind of shows the balance and the unbalance of the trade. But this shows the pain of how it's lived on. I would say that there's some pain involved, given that Dalton Schultz can't seem to stay on the field. I guess Carter's a little bit more useful now.
I mean, yeah, but then James Robinson's starting to steal touches more and more, so we'll see.
Yeah,
All right.
That trend's probably going down. On to number 9. We have the acquisition of Damien Harris, giving up what was thought at the time to be a throwaway running back in Jamal Williams, a second-round pick, and Tim Patrick. I would argue Damien Harris isn't even worth a trading into the draft now.
By Jamal
Williams. You have a guy that's knee is jello, and the new running back one in Detroit. So that's exactly. A lot to come up.
Put some respect on his name. He's RB1.
That's right. So I put this one, even though the number's not going to be the highest one we see, as pretty painful. Because I would think about now, especially with DeAndre Swift on his roster, that Dylan would love to have Jamal Williams back.
Yeah, probably be easier, but oh well.
He probably also doesn't want Damien Harris anymore. At least I would assume so from the amount of offers I've received. That includes Damien Harris.
Yeah, I would also just say if you're interested in offloading Swift, who's the backup in Detroit, might even become RB3. Who knows? I'll throw in a 2.10 draft pick in
Oh,
2024.
that's
There,
tempting.
it's very tempting.
Taking those live deals, even though the other party cannot listen to you live, is a bold strategy. But then
You could
again,
get,
Dylan
all
is
I'm
a
going to
bold
say
guy.
is you could get the next Isaiah Spiller right there. Dylan, it's tempting. Just
It's
leaving
tempting.
that at you.
All right, on to number 8. And we have yet again another Dylan trade, and yet again
Rashad.
another Rashad Bateman trade. This dude has just been nothing but pain the whole season. I mean, he's been in pain all season, but he's also giving pain to his owners, which is somehow Dylan in 2 trades, as we were going back earlier.
hmm
But this one, Dylan kind of wins on because he got up to the 1.04 at the probably the relative peak of Rashad Bateman's value.
Yeah,
He
it's
gave
going
up
to
a
be
second, but I would take that any day to move up to 1.04.
1.04 is where you're going to get your probably second, I would say second best receiver in the rookie draft class. Because usually 1 and 2 will be running backs, and then after that will be a couple of stud receivers in the first round, and then more running backs at the end of the first round. Um, so yeah, that's. I mean, we already know he was taking 1.04. We already know he's taking a 1.01.
So yeah, this trade is already rated out to be pretty severely painful, but I think the pain of that trade might just be reduced if 1.04 becomes more of a useful player, perhaps. But
Yep. If
on
only
to
he
the next
still
one.
has 1.04, but
Right on.
All right.
And here is the one
The
that you thought
speaking
was going to be in
of,
the top 3. The first trade that was actually made in the league, and I remember going, "What are you doing, Nolan?"
look, look, look. Initially, I was like, you know what? I was listening to a podcast, and they were like, CD. They were projected CD to have a top 5 finish year, and I was like, you know what? Why not? It's about even push, and then I was like, I'll get. I loaded up all my draft picks for next. With the 1.05, I was happy about, as you saw, and then I also did get Garrett Wilson. So, it wasn't great, and I did predict that this would be on the list. I do regret it because Justin Jefferson has just destroyed CD Lamb. CD Lamb is not a top 5 receiver in the league. He's more top 15, which I'm okay with as a Cowboys fan. Fine with your number 1 receiver being a top 15 guy.
I put this one as only a 6 on the pain scale. So I know you lost it in real time, but Garrett Wilson, I think getting him in that pick, you can see Charlie there in the corner. But getting Garrett Wilson in that deal, or getting the pick that became Garrett Wilson, definitely helps minimize the blow for me. You also did get a first rounder out. You got a pick swap to the first round, ended up being part of a Amon-Ra for Chubb deal, which since we didn't see at the beginning, we're probably gonna see at some point in
It's
this
coming up, I'm sure.
video, I'm sure. But having Garrett Wilson there, who's looking pretty good, helps minimize the blow for you. So that's why it's only at 7.
My last argument on this is, hey, he also did use one of my picks to get Isaiah Spiller, so that hurts him a bit. The other one was to get Bateman, which hurts a bit. And then on my side, I have 2 receivers. I turned 1 receiver into basically 2 receivers for the future. Maybe not this season because of injury and growing pains, but 2024 coming for you.
Yeah, this video itself is gonna probably age like milk too, because we're talking about so many draft pick trades, and one day these draft picks are gonna become players, so you get to throw the players in instead of the draft pick. So it's gonna get even interesting to redo the video.
All right, Stephen, I'm sure you're on here, so let's see yours next.
Oh, it's
Oh
you
no.
again. Nope,
That's
you
two.
jinxed it. You're on here again. Another one of the I think this was like maybe the third trade that happened overall. It was giving up or giving up CD Lamb. Yeah, giving up CD Lamb for CMC, but it's the pick swap that does it. You basically just gave him up for CMC in a second. I think. Hold
Second and
on.
moving up 4 spots in the first.
Yeah, I actually have you as winning this one because
Yeah,
you've got CMC who's ended up being a stud this year.
thank you. Rude.
And then getting that second rounder, and then also moving up. Only two, but it's helpful. It
Mhm.
helps from Hayden taking your guy, I guess. So
And to be
you
fair,
you you got
1.0.
this one.
Well, to be fair, I did turn CMC into more draft capital and future assets. I turned mainly. I'm also banking that CMC is going to get hurt at some point because I mean it's the 49ers.
Now Dylan owns him, and Dylan owns a 49ers running back, which only means one thing.
Exactly.
Sadly.
And then I mean they just lost a corner today at practice, I guess, or something. So 1.06, I ended up, I think, using to move up. And I have plenty of picks in 2024 that I'm now actually trying to use to spin. Just attention, everyone. So,
Yes, you used 1.06 to get up to 1.04.
genius.
You thought you were going to be getting only giving up 1.08 to move up to 1.04. Maybe that trade comes up sometime, but that trade's pretty recent, so I doubt we're going to see it.
Mm-hmm. All right.
On to number 5.
There he is. I knew
This
it.
one is just a benefit of timing. It was the perfect timing. Me going in and getting Ken Walker in exchange for Alvin Kamara and just moving down 2 spots in the draft. It was basically an even swap at the time, but Ken Walker has gone crazy since making this trade.
And I just want to know, I knew you were coming up. So I actually predicted that pretty close.
Pretty close, yeah. You weren't far off. Now this one, I remember people telling me, "Why would you make this trade? You're only 1-4. You could still
Because
push the
Kamara's
playoff. You
old.
you have Kamara. He's still okay. He's still like a top 12-ish running back, but you're getting someone who hasn't done anything all year in Ken Walker. But now the value showing through, and I bet that Nick wishes he still had him.
Let's just hope Rashad Penny doesn't come back and steal snaps next season.
He could. I mean, if it's a complimentary role, you know what? Get the dude a break a little bit. Don't run him to the ground like Damian Pierce getting like 30 touches every week. But
Worst case, he's another Tony Pollard.
right, because Rashad Penny didn't look bad, and that's why it took a while for the Ken Walker breakout. But I struck the week before, or 2 weeks before Penny got hurt, and that was the key.
Yeah, it was pretty
So,
smart.
in theory, in conclusion, I got a little lucky. But it was calculated to move on from Kamara when I wasn't having a winning season and go for a younger guy. On to number 4. This one should be higher on the list if you're looking at the overall differential, but I bumped it down a bit because there's the big caveat of Javonte Williams' health.
Yeah,
That's gonna distort this a little bit because some people in our league believe that he might not ever play again. I don't
I
think
wouldn't
so.
point
He was a
at the
stud.
person that would think that, but you know,
You do. You're one of those.
I
But
am one of them.
it
Maybe
is a complicated road to recovery. His value is going to keep decreasing and probably shouldn't be as high as it is, so I bumped it down. I cheated a little bit because of that, but I bet that Dylan just wishes he kept Tyler Algier and maybe sold Javonte Williams a little higher than basically giving him away.
well, specifically to say, I don't think he'll never play again. I don't think he'll ever play RB1 again. Status. They might try to trot him out as RB1, but I think
I think you're right there.
his
Yeah.
explosion's gone.
We'll see. Hopefully, it doesn't turn to the next Cam Akers. Now we go to number 3, and you knew this one
Yes,
was coming.
I knew it. Top 3 finish. Woo.
So I will review this one because I think I was either. I remember this trade going down, thinking this trade looks even until you look into the middle. The middle. You could argue that Nick Chubb and St. Brown straight up was an even trade, and even Duvernay for Jeff Wilson, even-ish. But then you had to do the pick swap. You had to do it. And now Colton's got the power on you, as you want to get that 1.05. You might be looking to get that 1.05 back.
I might, but to be fair at the time, Jeff Wilson was the starting running back for the 49ers. No one expected him to, not be there anymore. St. Brown, I did not expect to get injured or deal with multiple injuries and struggling. I don't know. He's just been having a rough few weeks lately because
This
he was
one
on
has worked
trajectory
out
like
for Colton
it's
pretty
like
brilliantly. This everything has gone right for Colton in this one, I think, because
yeah.
Bateman goes down, so Duvernay gets the clear path to being still a second option in the Ravens receiving core, and then Jeff Wilson, right as I was making this video, CMC gets traded there, so his value kind of tanks a little bit, but starting to go up, perhaps a little bit.
Starting a little, but you can see on the thing too, on your on the tracker here, like Amon-Ra was skyrocketing up, great. You had Green there, Jeff Wilson going up, great, and you had what was it, the second round mid being solid right there. So I was just like, you know what? It was going all right. And at the time I made this trade, Devin Duvernay was wide receiver 3 on a Lamar Jackson team where he got more special teams plays. And then he did have one big week. So I was like, all right, maybe, I could throw him in there. And I was like, well, Jeff Wilson, I thought running back value, he'll build up. And it just didn't pan out.
And you're using him this week, so not all is lost here.
Yeah, I'll still have him. It's fine.
I think if you were trying to make a push for this year, you'd be sad not to have Chubb right now. But
This at
there's
least
more. It's pretty painful, but there's more painful trades going on.
my receiver core is very young and improving. That's my positives. But yes, it's definitely a 10. It was very painful. But not number 1. What's number 2
That's
then?
right. There are 2 trades still that peak in front of this one. And one of them is one that I've been talking about being number 1 for a while.
Oh.
This one has,
yeah.
like, when you talk about bad trades that age like milk, this is one of them in my opinion. Because you're talking about giving away Chris Olave, who you took at 1.02 in the draft, because and that's actually kind of what you're hoping that 1.01 would become, somebody who is producing like Chris Olave is. So they give that away and give away Olave to only get Aaron Jones and the injury prone Bateman and 2 second rounders, which may or may not, which have a lower chance of hitting. I think this one just hurts a little bit. I thought it was a bad trade at the time, but with the Bateman news and Clyde's meteoric rise and fall during the season, Olave looking like a rookie of the year candidate, this one has aged pretty badly.
Pretty bad. I would agree with that.
And now to number 1. Just kidding. We got some honorable mentions that we had to throw in here.
All right.
This is a teaser, so you could get a guess. Actually, you know what? Before we go through our honorable mentions, what do you think is going to be number 1? Now that you've seen what we're working with.
Oh, I'm trying to remember because you've hit all the ones I could think of on the top of my head.
We got some out left field coming then.
I'm going to do a quick glance through our trade documents real quick.
Don't say it. Don't spoil it for the crowd.
I won't. No. I'm not going to spoil it, but I'll make my prediction at least.
You can text it to me and I will verify that it was correct.
If I got it right or not. Oh.
So while you're going through it, I guess I'll start here with one of our honorable mentions.
Yeah, go through down my mission.
This one hasn't worked out too great for either team at the moment, but it's me moving up to 1.10, giving up pick 2.03, and then Cordero Patterson for Michael Thomas. And this one starting to look like it's going to favor in my direction because Cordero Patterson is playing, at least for now, and Michael Thomas is done for the year already. I sold him at the peak of the value right there. You could see, where's Michael Thomas on here? He's the orange. I sold him right there at that little hump where he was just worth more. When I made this little graphic, no player has played in any game since making the trade, but we're finally over the hump, so I think this one's going to age even worse. It might creep into the top 10.
All right, well.
Next, we have
that
trade. Only an honorable mention for this one, but I feel like it's going to be one of these that ages really badly. I think it's only an honorable mention because it's so recent comparing to all the other ones. But I told you not to make this trade, and you did it anyway.
You know
Picking
what?
up James Robinson, and that might work out, but I think you gave up a little too much, and then the fact that it's now 1.06 instead of 1.08 only hurts as well.
I mean, I got 1.04. I got another pick in next year's. I'm loaded in 2024 draft wise.
Every game that CMC plays and doesn't get hurt, this trade is going to hurt you even more.
Yes, that's the sad thing.
But if when he does get hurt, and we're not rooting for injuries, but if he did, you will feel slightly vindicated and it won't be as painful.
Exactly. And then I feel like James Robinson helps me this year. Gets, as he's going to get more touches, it looks like, each week as the year goes on. And then Jalen Hurts. I think that's what the running aspect makes him about as valuable as Burrow.
Not to mention, James Robinson will also help you out early next year until Breece Hall's back. He's probably not going to be back to start the season, so you're going to get a little bit of usage. Maybe you can ship him off then, but I'll be wary, so don't do it to me.
Okay, I have a prediction. We may have already covered it because I have really bad memory, but I'm texting it to you now.
All right, I'm ready.
I'm ignoring the draft picks because that's too much information to text, but I'm just texting the people.
I'm not going to advance just in case.
All right, it should be sending. I have it sent. I'm probably wrong because I have no good memory, and I was just trying to quickly skim through all the drafts. So,
just kidding. One more honorable mention because we're anticlimactic.
Okay,
it's the T. Higgins for CEH. Also, speaking of me selling at the practical high of a player, we did flip T. Higgins at the high. It was a fair trade at the time, but predictably CEH's touchdowns couldn't continue to happen, and I got him at the inflation of his value, and it's just going down because Pacheco is on the rise, and I'm glad that I snuck him in on the waiver wire there.
Hey, it's fine. I snuck him in a keeper league, and I'm okay with that.
So, I think now it's time for number one. And Nolan, actually,
I forgot about this one.
Shoot, I didn't update this, did I? So this is number one on our sheet. This one hurts a lot. This one hurts a lot, man. I'm not even gonna lie. It was a pretty even trade at the time. I thought that Amon-Ra wasn't gonna be the guy this year. He only got the targets because Hawkinson was hurt, Swift was hurt, and you have Jameson Williams coming in, but nope, he's got that dog in him. And Allen Robinson turns out to just be garbage. So at least I got a first rounder. This one hurts like this one hurts, man.
Yeah. It was this was preseason, right?
This was preseason before.
Okay, see, I wasn't scrolling that far down. I was just looking at trades.
Look how pretty even Allen Robinson and Amon-Ra were at the time.
Amon-Ra's the gray.
Oh yeah, you're right. But I had the pick swap to kind of make up for
Yeah,
that
yeah,
tier.
yeah. And
So I was
then
like, you know what? I got this bigger difference in the pick swap
and
than
Matthew
these two
Stafford
are.
with half an elbow finally decided that only Cooper Cup matters, and
No,
also
Stafford only
Scarani.
throws the white receivers, which I totally forgot about. And
Hey,
now,
you know what? Actually, I can't say much because yeah,
because it's true. But now he's all the way down here. He's not even rosterable. Like that is nothing.
he's a drop. He is. He is.
Painful.
Do not have him on your roster. Give up. He's gone.
But there is one that is missing from this. It is actually the actual number one, and you did get it right. It's the Elijah Mitchell trade for where Dylan gave me, what was it? He gave me a first rounder and a
First rounder
CEH.
and a second rounder.
It
And
was flip, yeah, a first and a second for CEH, and I just gave him a second rounder and Elijah Mitchell, who is now just a glorified handcuff for CMC.
yes, that is the
That was the
worst.
most painful trade. We'll have to put it in the group to show the little chart there, but this is one B. 1A is going to be that Elijah Mitchell trade.
You're welcome. See, I predicted that, and that was quick glance. I was like, oh, I forgot about this one, and that was like immediately. I was like, I know there was one with CEH that was terrible, so I went and
The
found
one
that.
that set up the T. Higgins deal, which is funny enough because Dylan was going for T. Higgins, but I ended up using CEH to stop him from
As
getting T.
bait.
Higgins and getting T. Higgins myself.
All right. Well, I agree with a lot of these. Unfortunately, some were mine. I think there was three mine, excluding honorable mentions. I had three, and I did say I'd have one in the top three. So I feel like we're on the same page with our
Yeah,
trade
I think I
analysis.
made a few appearances in here, mostly in the honorable mentions section, but the ones I was in, I feel like outside of the one that's on the screen, were good for me.
Yes, you did all right, except for that one. But you also
Lots of
locked into the
lots of
Kenneth
Dylan,
Walker one.
lots of Rashad Bateman to discuss in the group. So
Yes.
that's
So
it for now. We'll,
that's it. We're gonna wrap up, but before everyone goes, just remember Turkey Bowl this Saturday. Be there or be a loser, just so you know.
be
All
there
right.
or be Rashad Bateman apparently.
Yes. Don't be a Rashad Bateman.
But I
Don't get
think that's
hurt.
it for me until we end up doing a was it a dynasty rookie draft review? That would be fun. We'll do that at the end of the year.
Coming up.
After they've
Coming
had a
up.
whole season to see how they play out, and Sky Moore's probably not looking too good.
Hey, shut up. Shut your face. I'm ending it on that.